Now, this really confuses me. I've seen stories, right? Everybody says, oh, your phone is listening to you all the time. How else do you explain that I was talking about Chinese food and then I got an ad for Panda Express?
Uh-huh.
And then the news stories come out and say, no, that's not. That's all in your mind. It's just a coincidence. Or maybe like, sure, you talked about Chinese food, but also you looked up something with Chinese food a while ago, and that's why you get ads for Chinese food. It's all in your mind that your phone is not listening to you. But then there's this lawsuit that Apple has just agreed to a settlement for. They're going to have to pay $95 million, which feels like nothing to Apple, right?
Probably, right?
It's nothing. $95 million. It's a lawsuit that was filed in 2019 that claimed that Apple's virtual assistant Siri could be activated without the consent of the device's owner and would then record conversations where the information in the conversations was sent to third parties.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as you said, it has seemed way too obvious that this was going on because the coincidence was just it was too crazy. You know, you'd be talking about something. Sometimes you felt like you were just thinking about something, and then it would show up on your feed.
Yes, it's the coincidences have been too much. Now, Apple, by agreeing to this settlement of $95 million, means that this lawsuit is like it's done, right?
Yeah.
So we don't get all of the information brought to light. So it's only all this stuff is technically only alleged in this lawsuit, but it's not been proven true, which I feel like runs in Apple's favor. Like they had a really good reason to want to settle this lawsuit out of court.
That's what I think. I think them settling shows quite a bit of guilt in this situation, that they don't want this information to come out because they're worried that, they have done some pretty, not great things with this eavesdropping stuff.
And it's just as much as, like, I've seen the claims that, like, no, like, listen, it's just coincidence when you get those ads on your phone. It's coincidence, and there's some good evidence for why it can be a coincidence sometimes. But also, let's be realistic. We all have the voice assistants on our phones, the Siri, the Alexa, whatever, the Samsung and whatever, Google. I don't use them.
Yeah.
But for them to work, they have to be always listening for when you say the words to activate them. They're not only listening when you activate, because otherwise, how would they activate?
Right.
And so let's be realistic. If we think they're listening all the time, and you think they're not using what they're hearing for some, selling that to somebody, you got to be, I feel like that's very naive of anybody who believes that.
Well, because when you go and buy a phone, they give you this huge list of these things that you're supposed to read through, right?
Yeah, the terms and
services.
Yeah.
And they give you all of this stuff, and you're just scrolling through until you get to the signature part. Are we we're not really reading that.
Yeah.
But yet that is probably full, it's full of legal jargon, but it is probably full of some stuff that if we knew what was in there, we might not be signing that contract.
Exactly.
So, I'm not shocked to see Apple settling this, and I'm not shocked to see that we do have proof for what we've all, long believed, which is that, yes, your phone is listening to you, and they're sending that information to third-party probably advertisement agencies or, data farms or whatever you want to call it, that are going to use that information against you because they want to sell to you.
I guess I'll acknowledge this. It may not be as instantaneous as we feel, where it's like, I said Chinese food and then a day later.
Immediately, right.
But I think that there's a distinct connection.
Yes.
There's too much evidence to say otherwise.
Coincidence? I think not.
While you're here, you should watch more of our videos and subscribe so you don't miss what we do next.